What's up, guys? Welcome. This is module one, and in this module, we are gonna talk about the credit basics that actually matter, right? So we're gonna pretty much gonna learn more about the different FICO score, the different what's the difference between a FICO score and a Vantage score, why some people have bad credit, why some people have good credit, so on and so forth. Okay, let's start. So what is credit? Your credit is pretty much a risk grade, right? And your credit essentially help lenders determine how risky you are based on your history, based on the people that have lent you money in the past and whether you were able to pay them back or not. Okay. Unfortunately, they don't look at whether you're a good person or not. It's all data. It's all based on your past. So what's the difference between credit and a report card? The difference is that your credit will essentially just be the number, and the report will be exactly what make up the number, right? One thing that I often use to help me understand this will be that, like when you were in high school, you had a GPA. Your credit score is now your GPA as an adult, which more like a financial GPA in the sense that it helps lenders determine how good you are when it comes to borrowing money, paying back, and how good you are when it comes to managing debt, right? So but your report essentially make up your grade, and your grade will be the score, right? So if you have a bad report, let's say if you have collections, charge off, repossessions, whatever it may be, that report will then determine the grade, right? So the report is what make up the grade. The grade is essentially the surface level, but to actually know what's going on, you need to look at the report. Okay. FICO score versus Vantage score. There is a huge difference between a FICO score and a Vantage score. In fact, your Vantage score is pretty much useless. Not many lenders use that. Over 90% of lenders will use a FICO score. And even when it comes to FICO, there's different FICO models out there. Every a car dealership and a mortgage lender will use different FICO score. But your Vantage and your FICO score are not the same. Platforms like Credit Karma will only show you your Vantage score. And if you go to myfico.com, you can see your FICO score, right? But the important piece here is that your FICO score is more important than your Vantage score. So what you see on Credit Karma, that's not really your, at least the important score. Okay, so FICO, wait, what exactly make up a good FICO score, right? So within FICO, 30% is amount owed, 10% is new credit, uh, 15% is length of credit history, 10% is credit mix, 35% is payment history. And here's a breakdown on each and every one of them. I think this first module is pretty much a refresher. If you didn't know this, this is the key information to know, right? And for those who already knew this, good. Just learn it again, right? Okay, next. And this is how your Ventus score is weighted. Again, it was definitely different from FICO, opposed to your payment history being 35% on FICO. It's actually 41% on Vantage. And different lenders will use different FICO score. The score that you get from Credit Karma is not really your, excuse me, it's not really the most useful score because lenders don't use Vantage score. Okay, so mortgage applications will use a FICO 2, FICO 5, and FICO 4, and these are the newer version that will then be used in upcoming years. So FICO 10T, FICO 10. So let's talk about some of the fastest way to actually boost your credit. These are the two fastest way to boost your credit for a lot of people actually. Just having a low utilization and paying your stuff on time. Just those two will increase your credit dramatically. Like you'll be surprised at how many people who actually don't pay their credits on time. It's just insane. Like I don't know why anyone would not want to pay their credit on time. Again, These are some of the easiest way to actually increase your score. Just have a low utilization, anywhere between 1 to 3%. Do that, and you see that you can actually increase your score by a few points, depending on your credit file. And then another important thing to note here is that there's two important dates that you should know. You should know your statement closing date and your due date. Those are two different dates. What gets reported to the 3CRA is the whatever shows up on the statement closing date, right? So if you have a high utilization on the statement closing date, that is exactly what gets reported to the 3CRA. Your due date is essentially when that minimum due payment is due, right? So you can pay your stuff on you can pay before the due date, but you want to make sure that your utilization is super low before the statement closing date. Okay. Another cool thing to note here, let's say if you have this is really good, especially if you're applying for a mortgage, right? Let's say if you have 5 credit card, you can pay off all of your credit card close to zero as possible and just leave a tiny balance on one card. That tremendously lowers your utilization across all of your accounts, boosting your score overall. But this is a unique strategy that you can take advantage of if you are looking to get a loan and you want to maximize your points to the best of your ability. Even if all of your cards are not zero, you can just have them like $3, $10, just a small balance. You can have your cards on a small balance because ideally, I'm being honest here, if you want to maximize the most possible points, keep your utilization between 1 to 3%, right? 1 to 3%, especially if you are looking to apply for a mortgage, a car, or any important loan. Okay. Another thing that people may not know is that you actually have a shopping window. Let's say if you are applying for a mortgage, shopping around for a car, you have about, I want to be safe and say 14 days. So how this works is that you can go to bank A, they do a hard inquiry. Bank B, they do another hard inquiry. If it's for the same loan, the second inquiry after the second inquiry will not have as much effect on your credit. They will count that as just one inquiry, right? You'll see more inquiry, but in terms of how we affect your score, it will only count as one hard inquiry. So if you go to bank A, B, C, D, 3, 4, whatever it may be, so on and so forth, within that 14-day period, they'll only count that as one hard inquiry. A lot of people don't know this, but these are things that you can leverage when you are shopping around for a mortgage, a car. These are good things to know. Okay. Now, thin file. If you have a thin file, that essentially means like you have no credit whatsoever, or you just have one account that's being reported to all 3 CRA. Now, when I say CRA, I mean the credit reporting agency, the credit bureaus, right? I don't want to call them credit bureaus because they are not government agencies. The 3 CRAs are all private entities. They're all private companies that are in the data space where they just sell your information to lenders and banks and profit off of your information. Okay. So if you have a thin file that you don't have that many accounts and you're looking to start building, or even if you have no credit whatsoever, one of the easiest ways to actually get a secure credit card. A secure credit card, essentially, you go to the bank, you give them $1,000, the bank put that $1,000 into, well, they kind of hold that $1,000 as a collateral and then give you a credit card with that $1,000 as the limit. So essentially, you are securing that credit card with the $1,000 that you give the bank. That's why it's called a secure credit card. Okay. And then you have credit builder loans. A lot of credit unions and some banks will offer a credit builder loan. Some will call it differently, a share secure loan, a pledge loan. It will have different names to it, but they essentially operate the same way. You go to the bank, you give them $1,000. They put that $1,000 as a collateral. In return, they give you a loan for $1,000. Now, as you continue paying off that loan, the payment history is then recorded, which builds your credit in the long run. The other way will be to be added as an authorized user. Now, for this, I'll 100% recommend that you use someone that you know that has a good credit history. They have a good payment history. They don't miss anything. a clean credit file. That's what I would recommend. But being added as an authorized user is okay, but these here are more important than this because these are primary accounts where these accounts actually belong to you. That's what I mean by primary account. Being added as an authorized user, think of it as piggybacking off of someone else's history, someone else's hard work, right? Even when you're applying for a mortgage, if your entire file is full of an authorized user where you don't have primaries, they can technically deny you because you have no credit. You just piggybacking off of someone else's credit. That's why it's important that you build your own credit from scratch by having secure credit cards or unsecured credit card, getting loans, and then of course paying those off on time. You want to make sure that you don't miss a single payment. A single payment missed can drop your score by a lot, right? Now, let's go over secured versus unsecured credit cards. A secured credit card is a credit card that requires that you put some deposit down, money down. Um, an unsecured credit card is actually the most common credit cards out there. A lot of people have unsecured credit cards. Unsecured credit card, essentially you did not put any deposit whatsoever. And then when it comes to loans, the same way as secure loans and unsecured loan, a secure loan will be like a mortgage. A mortgage is a secure loan because you are putting down a deposit, a down payment, and the property itself is also used as a collateral. Versus a unsecured loan would be like a personal loan where you don't put anything down; they just loan you money. So a personal loan will be a unsecured loan. A credit card is unsecured credit card, but we're talking about loan here. But that's the difference between a secure credit card and an unsecured credit card. A secure credit card requires that you put money down. A unsecured credit card does not require you having to put any money down. And a lot of people actually have a unsecured credit card. So unsecured credit cards are actually more common than than anything. Now, if you if you don't have any credit history whatsoever, it might be difficult for you to get an unsecured credit card. That's why in a previous slide we talked about getting a secure credit card. Okay. Here's some good secure credit cards. Discovery, my first credit card when I was in college. That's when I got my first credit card. I think 2018 or 2019. I got Discovery's student at the time. That's the one that I had. But I've had a good experience with Discover. Capital One also has good platform, and Bank of America as well. But these are some of the ones that I would recommend that you look into. But again, it doesn't matter which one it is. Just do some research on if you're looking to have a credit card that offers some cashbacks or some benefits, and just compare all of them based on the benefits that comes with every credit card, and then choose based on what you feel as if will be the best fit for you. Okay. Now, this presentation is indeed straight to the point, so I'm very, very quick with this. I'm just going slide by slide very, very quickly. This entire module, it's module one. It's a good refresher for those who just didn't know this. If you knew all of this, again, hey, doesn't hurt for you to relearn some of these things or refresh your mind. If this is new, great. I think for most people, this is actually going to be new because it's going uh, more in details and not so much on a surface level, right? So where to get your real FICO score? You can go to myfico.com. Myfico.com will give you your real FICO score. Experian also has FICO 8. So, but I recommend going to myfico.com. And the reason why is because myfico.com will give you all the different FICO score out there. I'm talking about FICO score for banks, for car dealership, for mortgage lender. It'll give you all those scores there. Okay. And if you want to see your credit report, remember this is a report. So essentially, exactly what's on your credit, right? You will not see the grade on your annual credit report. So if you go to annualcreditreport.com, you'll be able to grab your credit report. You'll be able to see exactly what's on there everything that's on there, anything that's negative, you'll be able to see that from there. But this is the official website, and that where you can get your credit report. Okay, so if you go to that website, you'll be able to get your credit report. So let's recap module one. So on module one, we pretty much went over pulling all of your report, going to annualcreditreport.com. The importance of stopping any late payment and just paying your credit cards on time, paying your loans on time, and also the importance of having a low utilization. Right? There's a lot of people who will leave points on the table because their utilization is just high. I know you hear all the time that you should have a utilization under 20%, under 30%. Keep it under 30%. That's what they say, right? But if you actually want to maximize your points, keep it under 10%. But even better, if you keep it anywhere between 1 to 3%, if you are looking to get a loan, do that before. Just do that. It's gonna help you because you are maximizing 100% of the points there. But keep it under 10% if you want to maximize as much points as you can. We then talked about the different FICO score and the difference between FICO and Vantage, and why one is important and why the other one is important. Again, FICO score is more important because it's used by most lenders, and your Vantage score is not that important, right? That's pretty much concludes module one. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to help with anything else. Okay, see you guys into the next module. Bye.